and welcome to the Junk Baller Podcast. My name is Michael Greenwood, and I'm here with my good friend, as always, Kevin Otterbein. Kevin, how are you?
Living the dream.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's that dream? Is it a sleepy dream or is it a daydream?
It's a Sleepy's dream.
A sleepy's dream.
Yeah, like the mattress store.
Yeah, okay. What is sleepy's?
It is a former mattress chain. I don't think it's around anymore.
Sounds like a kid's pajama
It does.
clothing brand.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they're not around anymore.
I don't think so. Maybe they got assumed by Mattress Firm or something.
Maybe we should reach out to them and we can partner with them as our advertisement, because we're giving them free publicity to our listeners.
Only if I get a mattress out of it.
Yeah, I'll take a pillow. I need a new pillow.
Yes.
But welcome to the season preview 2026.
Woo woo.
Woo woo. We are here. Spring is upon us. That means summer's coming. The dog days of summer, baseball, hot dogs, fireworks, sunny weather. It is coming.
Yes.
Thank the Lord.
Yeah, the last episode we recorded was in the middle of a snowstorm.
Yep.
And today it is getting up to almost 70 degrees. So a stark contrast from where we were to where we are now.
Yes. Thank you. I'm sure everyone listening in the greater Philadelphia area where we have most of our listeners they are very happy that spring is here and we are getting nicer and nicer weather. But that means we have a lot to catch up on. And while we would love to sit here for probably 5 hours catching up on all the news in Major League Baseball over the last 2 months, which has been a lot, we're going to kind of give you a little bit of our thoughts on the World Baseball Classic, which I thought was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And then we are going to dive right into our predictions for the 2026 MLB season. Kev will handle the AL. And I will handle the NL as always. We've been a little bit of a backstory the last 2 months. I've taken over my dad's business, and I have been absolutely. I have no free time. I should be going to getting better sleep, and because I'm just doing so much, but I'm not getting any sleep. That's why I need a new pillow. But I'm just absolutely always busy, and Kevin and I's schedule just has not aligned, and we just have not been able to just sit down for an hour or two to actually present to you guys our thoughts on the baseball season coming up.
Yeah. Well, thankfully, the busy time that we've had has coincided with what's pretty much the black hole of baseball, which is like January to almost now, with the exception of the last couple of weeks of the World Baseball Classic. But really busy with work. Busy outside of work.
Yeah.
I feel like I've had something going on every Saturday this month at least.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to just be finally getting back on the mic and talking about baseball and watching baseball.
That's been such a joy.
Which is, we're recording this on Sunday. The opening night is on Wednesday night, Yankees and Giants.
Yeah. Holy crap. Forgot about the opening night with it because it's on. I wanted to ask you this.
It's on Netflix.
So, as a Yankees fan, obviously you are the most watched team, probably. Maybe the Dodgers take it over because of Ohtani now.
Mm-hmm.
But how many streaming services do you need if you were to watch every single game?
So, outside of the New York area, I'm actually more fortunate than people who live in the New York metropolitan region. Because I'll have MLB TV, which means I'll be able to capture most of the games, even on Amazon Prime, on MLB TV. If you live in the New York area, and this was last year, I'm pretty sure it's going to be accurate now, you're going to have Netflix for opening night. You're going to have Amazon Prime for Tuesdays. You're going to need the Yes Network on cable. You're going to need ESPN for Sunday night games.
No, it's NBC.
NBC. Okay.
NBC. That's also something we haven't talked about.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that shows you how out of it I've been. I'm sorry, guys. But you also need Apple TV.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one. Okay,
that's 5.
That's 5. 5 streaming services. And I don't have Netflix.
Wait, no, that's 6 if you count. I lost track because I got sidetracked. I was like, wait, NBC is doing it now instead of ESPN.
Yeah.
But also, rest in peace. I mean, ESPN's been absolute garbage for a while now. Yeah. But yeah, I remember I was talking with my brother. I was like, yeah, Kev needs like 8 or 9 streaming services if you were going to watch every single game for the Yankees.
Yeah.
Like, they always... MLB has always done this. They have a great product, and then they get in the way of themselves and don't let everyone watch the product with it. And it's prime example is that. Like, yeah, I want to watch all the games, but I have to pay, how much for Netflix, how much for Amazon, all that. Just why? Why can't there just be MLB put down, like, get rid of all the blackouts and everything?
Yeah.
It's just dumb.
Well, there's certain services I could recommend, but we're on a podcast and we're being recorded, so I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, we're not getting paid.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, speaking of MLB getting in its own way, let's talk about the World Baseball Classic, because right now MLB is slowly on the rise.
Mm-hmm.
The viewership for World Baseball Classic outdid the NBA Finals, and also, there was one other thing it outdid. It outdid, I think it was like 11 million viewers for the final, which was fantastic.
Internationally or in the United States?
I think that was United States. I think I heard this on the radio, and they were explaining it, and I was kind of surprised with it. But I just know that it was a big bump from last year, or the last time they had it, and there was a lot more talk about it. And I sensed that a lot of people sensed that there was a lot more talk about the World Baseball Classic. I think also because the star power was a lot bigger than previous years. While the last time was Trout leading the way, Judge was leading the way, who was a Yankee, and then you had Mark DeRosa, who made a slip in pool play, thinking that they had already advanced when they didn't, and luckily they advanced. Oh, gosh, talk about just incompetence. The team who is probably favored to win, other than maybe Japan or the DR.
Yeah.
Like, how can you have coaches and everything like, no, we're not in yet. We have to win again. How does that go through the cracks?
Yeah.
How does that go through the cracks?
And what makes this more embarrassing for the United States was, like, I was hearing comparisons about them being a dream team of sorts for this year's World Baseball Classic. I was. I'm not saying that they were.
Yeah.
And you're watching some of these games, like, they can win it all. And then you had that comment, and then they get a kick in the pants losing to Italy of all teams.
Yeah.
Wasn't the DR, wasn't Japan, wasn't even Korea or one of those other teams. Italy.
Yeah. Yeah, Team USA needed a shot of espresso like Italy was doing in the dugouts during the final game. Gosh, what did they have? 3 hits? They had 3 hits, and one was the 2-run homer by Harper.
Mm-hmm.
I just obviously Team USA lost to Venezuela. Congratulations, Team Venezuela. Yes. Ranger, thank God, Ranger won something. I miss him already. But World Baseball Classic was fun. There was a lot of talk about it, but with the new CBA coming up and then the Olympics coming up, it's just trying to figure out, all right, is MLB going to get in its own way again with this? I'm almost like, how are they going to screw this up with the new CBA and everything? Like, they're like, yeah, no, we're not allowing teams to take off for the Olympics or something like that. Could you imagine if they actually no, you can't take off 2 weeks for the Olympics. You can't do that. Why not? You want to get more money to people in the Olympics, get more eyes on it? Like, that's what the NFL does with all the teams and games in London and all that. Yeah. Like, the one game in like Mexico and overseas in London for the baseball, like, it's not super big. Like, it's not like crazy, but you get them in the Olympics, everyone watches the Olympics.
Yeah.
Like, but I just feel like I'm just waiting for MLB to get in its own way with the new CBA coming up. Yeah. So, yeah. What were your overall thoughts of the World Baseball Classic?
I love it internationally because baseball is an international sport. Perhaps in the United States, when I talk to people about baseball, it's like, it's kind of slow and not very exciting, but it's just so much fun watching the crowds in Japan or the DR crowds or the Venezuela crowds. They're into it.
Yeah,
they get excited. They get all pumped up, and it's fun. Mm-hmm. It's fun when you get to see the fans so involved. So on an international level, it's great for baseball. I forget someone made a comment though about it being bigger than the World Series.
That was Judge? That was Judge. Yeah,
that was Judge.
It also was someone else who was also in the World Series. It was someone from the Dodgers.
Yeah,
I think. I can't remember exactly, but yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't think it's quite there yet. I mean, if I had a choice between winning a World Series and winning the World Baseball Classic, I would still choose a World Series championship.
Yeah.
But maybe if this continues to develop, maybe it gets to a point where it's kind of like the Olympics or the World Cup of baseball, where it's such a huge deal that it transcends just Major League Baseball.
Yeah. It's not bigger for Americans. Yeah. The U.S., it's World Series. But for the other countries, this is their World Series.
That's fair.
So you see all the passion and craziness that all these international teams do. Like, they're representing their country. Because the World Series, like, Venezuela doesn't have Major League Baseball they don't have that there. Mm-hmm. So it's like they're going to play for a championship, but like it's not their home. If the Yankees won the World Series, they're not my team. Even though they're in my country, they're not my team. So like it's kind of like the Phillies won the World Series is like, or the Yankees won the World Series is time like Venezuela winning the World Baseball Classic for their country because it makes sense in that way, but. Yeah, I thought it was fun. There's obviously so much we could talk about. There was a lot of storylines. Luckily, no one seemed to get really drastically hurt. I know that some people got some hit by pitches. Suzuki for the Cubs had a leg injury, but there really wasn't anything crazy. Although the one talking point that also became a big thing was Skubal, who said, he signed up to play for the World Baseball Classic, and he pitched one game, and I think it was like 2 or 3 innings, and then he was out, and then there was the talk. He's like, I might come back. I might pitch. And then he didn't, but he pitched for the Tigers a game, and then came back and was in the dugout for the championship, kind of like thinking, I don't know. There was just something weird about it where, like, dude, if you're going to go pitch and you want to pitch, just go pitch. Like, you're going to get a ton of money in the offseason, regardless if you're 100% healthy or not. If you want to go do what you want to do. Like, I just felt like you had pitchers that were, last year or the cup last time. Like, I think people were saying, well, it's his contract year or something like that. Ohtani pitched and hit in the World Baseball Classic, threw the last out against Mike Trout, and then went and signed $700 million the next year. Yeah, like, come on, Skubal's gonna get paid. I was a little bit upset with Skubal. Like, dude, if you're gonna commit, like, commit. Yeah. Don't just say, I'm going to one game. I'm back. I want to come back. But then he didn't, and then he's still in the dugout with it. I don't know. It was kind of a little bit of it kind of solidified that Paul Skeens was kind of my favorite non-Philly pitcher and the best pitcher in baseball, in my opinion. All right. And you want to get into predictions?
Let's do it.
All right. We will start. So we will go back and forth, and we will start with the AL West, and then we'll head to the NL West and vice versa, and all the way down we'll end with the East, because I think that's what everyone wants to know regarding our predictions. But, Kev, why don't you take it away with the AL West?
Yeah, remember those magazines you would buy growing up that had the MLB previews in them?
Yep.
I bought those every year. That was before you get it online. Mm-hmm. My notes are so dense. It's like one of those old magazines from like Sports Illustrated where it's like it's like a novel I'm writing.
Wow, look at you, like being prepared for this. Gosh, at least one of us is.
Well, I could almost say my notes verbatim. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to get right into the AL West with the team I hate talking about the most. That other LA team. And saying LA is generous.
Yeah, they're not an LA
because
team.
They don't even play in LA.
Nah.
They were 72-90 last year, and yet the more things change, the more they stay the same. And honestly, out of all the teams here, no squad made more moves without actually improving.
Oh wait, okay, I'll have a point.
A little. Well, one of the guys they got he's questionable. He might be hurt.
Okay, yeah.
They did get some guys in the offseason. They got, Josh Lau, Kirby Yates, Manoah, your Phillies legend, Grayson Rodriguez.
Okay, yeah. The Phillies legend. Not Grayson Rodriguez, the Phillies legend, but the Phillies legend that I don't really want to talk about.
Well, they do have him, too.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Freaking Jordan. I'm not even pronouncing his name correctly on here.
Romano.
It's Romano. That's not his actual name. It's Romano is apparently how it's pronounced, but he does not deserve to be deserving right now.
And Drew Pomeranz and Adam Frazier to name a few.
Yeah.
I don't know if the loss... sorry, I'm losing track.
The loss of Rendon.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about Taylor Ward. Losing him makes up for all that. And then, Kenley Jensen from their bullpen, but they did get Yates, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I will say, though, cutting the dead weight of Rendon has to be the biggest move that they've had in years.
That's what I was going to say. I was like, that's the biggest move that they had, is getting rid of him.
In a long time. Huge relief off the shoulders of Angels fans.
Gosh. Still paying him, but man, he did not want to play baseball at all. He just... Dude was like, yeah, I'm injured, whatever.
Yeah.
I think he missed more games than he actually played for the Angels, I believe. I think that was his
I think so.
Gosh. That was a 7-year contract.
Yeah,
everyone.
great. If Angels are known for great contracts like that.
Yes.
Other than that, you can play our season preview from last year and get a similar thoughts on what I said as I do right now. A couple of young guys, a bunch of old people, some middle-of-the-road pieces, and more wasting away of a Hall of Fame career.
Yeah.
After all, if you heard some of Artie Moreno's comments recently, did say that the Angels fans aren't overly concerned with winning. Say what you want about SoCal fans, but generally, I would think that fans of a baseball team like the idea of winning just a little bit. Overall, though, I'm calling for a repeat of last year and end it there because I hate talking about the Angels. They're like they aggravate me and how they just mismanage everything they touch. Like they had Ohtani and Trout on the same team and did nothing with it. They made one playoff series, and that was over a decade ago. And that was the last time they were over 500 too. It was over a decade ago. So why even talk about them anymore?
Gosh, yeah, that's pathetic.
Yeah. Now, onto a team I actually do want to talk about, because to me, they could have one of the best starting lineups in baseball coming into this year. And that's the one team still playing in a minor league stadium, unfortunately.
Yeah.
The A's. Here's their first 4 players in the top of their projected lineup. You have Nick Kurtz, 36 home runs last year.
Rookie of the year.
Shea Langoliers, 31 home runs last year. Brent Rooker, a total stud.
Yep.
And Tyler Soderstrom. Dude, they have a ridiculous top of that lineup.
And that's not even the whole lineup.
That's not even the whole lineup. Yeah, that's just the top of their lineup. And they have Lawrence Butler, too. And they brought in Jeff McNeil. If those bats live up to the hype, that offense is dangerous.
Yeah, especially in a minor league stadium.
Yeah. Wish I could say the same thing about their rotation. Well, I could, except that the danger that their pitcher brings is to themselves because their starting pitching stinks. Their staff had the 4th worst ERA in all baseball, and that's even when they had Mason Miller for a part of that year. And in A's fashion, they didn't really get anyone to help. Aaron Savale isn't Greg Maddux, and Hogan Harris isn't Mace Miller, unless they decide to make Yankees legend Mark Leiter Jr. a closer, but I doubt that's happening. Talk about extremes in terms of the contrast between the potential in the lineup and how bad the rotation is.
Yep.
My hope, and it's a long shot knowing this owner, is that they compete somewhat and they make moves during the season to get some starting pitching and make a push. That's very doubtful with this guy, but maybe he'll actually do something.
Yeah.
If they can do that somehow, I think they could be a legit contender for the postseason. But I'm not confident enough in them right now with their problems. So they're definitely better than the Angels, but I don't think they're quite to the top of their division just yet.
Gotcha.
While there are hopes for the A's, there is another team in the West that, in my mind, we are seeing the decline of, and that's the Astros. What we talked about for the last few years, that has been a theme. It's just like, oh, we're finally seeing the decline of the Astros dynasty. Maybe this is it. And they somehow bounce back and show us that they're not quite done just yet. They had a Mets-like collapse last year. They had a 7-game lead in July, but then missed the postseason entirely.
Shame.
Yeah, we feel really bad about it. I don't think they're going to be a bad team necessarily, but they are an aging and incomplete team. The big news in the offseason was twofold. One, no more Framer Valdez. He's gone off to Detroit, and we'll talk about Detroit a little later on. And bringing in Tatsuya Imai from Japan. I'm curious to see what Framer will do once we get to the Tigers. But Imai is going to have some pressure coming in. He's a 3-time All-Star from Japan, a righty to complement another youngish guy in Hunter Brown, who's also a righty. I bring up the righty aspect too because when I look at their rotation, every pitcher is a righty. And Framer was a lefty. They all have potential, but they have such a righty heavy rotation, and I think that could blow up in their face a little bit. I don't think there's much concern about their solid, albeit a little bit older when you have Altuve infield. I mean, Isaac Paredes and Pena excluded, and Pena's coming back from a broken finger. Their outfield doesn't look all that impressive, so I think you're going to have to hinge their power on Alvarez. Another guy coming back from hand problems and did not play all that much last year. Overall, I do not think that the Astros are a particularly strong team. Age and attrition come for all sports teams eventually. And that's why I think they'll be a, say, 85, 86 win team on the cusp of not quite making the playoffs this year.
Dang, 85, 86 in third place. Dang, that's especially with the okay, I'm curious about your NL East then.
They're not. I mean, yeah, no. I mean the AL East. There's a lot to discuss there, but yeah. I'll continue. Now onto their Texas counterparts up the road in Dallas, Arlington, wherever they are, and didn't think that team made such they made a lot of interesting decisions this offseason. I should say, complete opposite. These moves are definitely motivated by their 500 record. Bruce Bochy isn't there anymore. Now they got Skip Schumacher, who they saved from the baseball purgatory known as Miami.
Yeah.
And getting a fresh start on what would be a different-looking Rangers team in 2026. Marcus Semien and Adolis Garcia, two guys who were pivotal in that 2023, but not the same guys last year, are out. Don't worry, Corey Seager and Wyatt Langford, MVP caliber guys, are still there. But they got Brandon Nimmo in the Semien trade, which was interesting because you think they fill the gap in the infield. But I guess since Josh Smith has similar stats to Semien, it's not as big a deal. But who cares about the offense? The big move came in an attempt to bolster the rotation behind DeGrom and Eovaldi. And that was the trade for Mackenzie Gore, a starter who the Rangers traded 5 of their prospects for. They must see something in Gore that I don't. Because, sure, he made the All-Star team. But 1, every team has to be represented in the All-Star game. And 2, he was 5-15 last year with a 4 ERA. He's younger, but I'm honestly not sure what the Rangers are doing here. They had the best team ERA in baseball last year. And instead of trying to get a few more substantial bats, they trade all their prospects for someone who we're not entirely sure is going to pan out yet. Maybe a change in scenery would be good. I mean, going from Washington to Texas certainly is different. All that aside, you do have DeGrom and Eovaldi in your rotation. Langford is exciting. And heck, maybe we'll see McCutchen break out this year as a Ranger. Which is a shame. As a side note, he should have ended his career in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he'll come back, sign a one-day contract with Pittsburgh so he can officially retire as a Pirate. But I was hoping he'd stay with Pittsburgh for the rest of his time playing baseball. I think they'll do slightly better than Houston because there's more certainty in the rotation. So I'm taking the Rangers as the second spot.
Nice. Yeah. I'm kind of waiting until.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You're usually so responsive. Seattle, you guys had it.
Mm-hmm.
You were so close to finally, at last, punching your ticket to the Fall Classic. But no, you had to let George Garbage Can Springer hit that home run, didn't you? But before I go on an unhinged tangent about that, let's talk about how I think they could go far this year like they did last year.
Mm-hmm.
First of all was their vast improvement in offense. You had Cal Raleigh with 60 home runs, most ever for a catcher, as well as a switch hitter. Julio Rodriguez and Arozarena, they anchored their outfield and provided homers to complement him. No more Jorge Polanco, who went off to the Mets, but they interestingly enough re-signed Josh Naylor to a 5-year deal, $92 million.
Yeah.
Which, fun fact, is the largest signing that they've had since Robinson Cano back in 2014, and we all know how that contract worked out.
How did it work out?
Not that great.
Oh, yeah, great.
After obtaining a mid-season last year. He said he liked it there, and they need a first baseman, so, yeah. The big move to me was getting Brendan Donovan, who's an all-star third baseman who's also a Gold Glover. They also retained their pitching staff, Logan Gilbert should be back to all-star form after having elbow problems last year. And then Brian Wu, Luis Castillo, George Kirby are back too.
Great rotation.
Yes. And, Andres Munoz as their closer, shutting things down on the bullpen side.
Top 5 closer.
Yes. The Mariners are not only the most complete team in the West, but in my opinion, they're one of the more complete teams in the game right now. And that's why they're an easy pick for me to win the AL West.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. The Rangers are a team that I don't know how to really gauge on them. I feel like every other team kind of has an idea of where they're going. I feel like the Rangers, they traded for Mackenzie Gore. They got rid of Simeon. They added Brandon Nimmo. Their rotation could be the best in baseball if everything works out because they just have so much. But other than, they lost Garcia, but that lineup, other than Seager, they have Wyatt Langford and a couple other guys that are supposed to be good, but, they don't scare me.
Yeah.
Like no one in the AL West really scares me, in my opinion. Like the Mariners just can't get it out of their own way. The Rangers, they could be good. The Houston, they're slowly on the decline as they're getting older and just don't have as much star power. But the A's are kind of looming. They just need to get a rotation help, and the Angels just suck.
Yeah.
So I agree with with 1 through 5 where they stand. It's just I don't know how to gauge the Rangers because I feel like the Rangers, if for some reason they went out and got a bat or two, I'm like, yeah, they could. I feel like the Rangers could step above the Mariners.
Yeah, the Texas teams were tough for me to figure who would be third and second. But I ultimately chose the Rangers because I feel more confident in their rotation, and also they're not on the decline, or at least on the age sort of decline.
Yeah, they're kind of like right smack dab in the middle. Like they have some older guys, they have some younger guys. Like with it. Yeah, I agree. All right,
NL West.
NL West. Now, I will say just for what's the word? Just for everyone's
full disclosure,
I do not have as many notes as Kev does. I do not. I am prepared, but I am not in as depth as Kev is with this. Mostly because he and I just handle things a little bit differently in how we prepare. But I have some notes here that I feel like some might upset some people and surprise some people. But at the same time, I fully researched and looked into all this stuff, but I definitely do not have as many notes as Kev here. So just full disclosure. But let's start off with absolutely one of the worst teams in baseball last year and one of the worst teams of all time, the Colorado Rockies. I don't want to spend more than 10 seconds on this team whatsoever. Chris Bryant is hurt. I actually feel bad for the guy because, one, was listening to an interview. He's like, yeah, I wake up every day just in pain. Like, it's really a shame that injuries kind of derail careers of promising potential Hall of Famer type talents. Because he was, let's face it, if he just was healthy for 5 seasons out of his contract with the Rockies, he'd probably be a borderline Hall of Famer because he'd probably be close to 500 home runs. He'd have the MVP, be a World Series champ. Yeah. But it's the Rockies, and everything just goes to crap when the team. Oh gosh, so I feel bad for that. They have Tovar as their shortstop, but other than that, Kyle Freeland's their number 1 starting pitcher again. But who cares? It's the Rockies. They have a new manager in Warren Schaefer, but man, they are cooked from day one. I am so sorry, Colorado. Just go watch the Nuggets or the Broncos. Just you're not gonna have fun watching the Rockies this year. You're just not.
For one, that was more than 10 seconds.
I know. But because I feel bad for Chris Bryant. Yeah. I don't feel bad for the Rockies. They've absolutely been terrible organization.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrible.
And it just astounds me how year after year, Colorado, which should have one of the best offenses in all of baseball, is so anemic.
Yeah.
Like you literally live in the Mile High City where balls just fly out of the park and you can't hit home runs.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Brenton Doyle's still there, but he hasn't been good.
Yeah.
He hasn't been living up to there's just obviously Chris Bryant's hurt. There's no star power. Tovar is a good player. He's fun to watch, but he's not a name player. No one knows Tovar at all.
Could you imagine if someone like Schwarber or Judge played for the Rockies?
Oh my
They'd have 70 home runs easy.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But they're not that kind of organization.
Yeah, no, they are an absolute crapshoot. Gosh. Yeah. So spent more than 10 seconds, but it's mostly because I feel bad for Chris Bryant. But yeah, anyway, they're cooked. They probably are going to be the worst team in baseball again, in my opinion. All right. Now we're going to move to a team that I just don't believe in, this team. And I've said it over the course of the years of this podcast. I just don't know what they're doing with it. They go and sign some players, and then they go and sign then they let go of some other players. So you have they lose. Oh my gosh, Dylan Cease, the Padres. This is the team is called the Padres. My dad hates the team, the Padres, but I just don't believe in this team. I don't know what it is. Like, their rotation is okay. Like, they're going to rely on Nick Pivetta to be their ace again, with Michael King kind of hoping to be a decent pitcher. Darvish is 39 years old. There was hints of him fully retiring. Mason Miller, they might have one of the best bullpens. That's one thing that's going well for them. They have Mason Miller and also Mason Miller is pretty much closing it out. They have Jason Adam and a couple other guys. But they lost Suarez, which is a big loss. But this offense has not lived up to the expectations that they had when they had, obviously they lost Soto, but they signed Bogarts, and they just Machado and Tatis, there haven't been like incredible. Like, they've been all-star caliber, but they just can't get over that hump with it. And I just don't believe in them. Their line has been so inconsistent. They have a lot of new stuff. The Craig Stammen, the new manager, has a lot to handle with the Padres, and if they don't really kind of if they're not above 500 by the All-Star break, I could definitely see them being sellers. If they're around 500, yeah, I might say that they might go trade for someone because they have so much money involved. But at the same time, they might be like, all right, let's go, get some prospects, because Machado's aging. Like, he's not going to be the same player as he is anymore with the lockout next year. Like, why not trade? So this is where I think that you might like this. I could totally see them trading Tatis. 100% trading Tatis. Jackson Merrill's staying on that team. I don't think they're going to trade Jackson Merrill. He's not going to give the haul that people are going to think. But there's no one else on that team that would give a haul like Tatis would. He's under contract. And for lack of a better word, that's a cheap contract now for a guy of that caliber of player. Like, he would be getting $500 million if he was a free agent this year, but he's only getting paid $300 total. Obviously, that's really weird for me to say as like, I don't make that money. But do you want to see what team I think he's going to go
to? Not the Mets.
No. New York Yankees. I 100% could see him in pinstripes. I'd see him. I could see the Yankees be like, you know what? Let's go trade our prospects. A lot of your prospects haven't been really working out other than Heel. Let's be honest. Yeah. You haven't, Volpe's been crap. Dominguez has been absolute crap. Like, you just really haven't had hitter. Greg Bird. Is it Greg Bird?
Greg Bird.
Yeah, Greg Bird's been okay. He's been good. But yeah, you need another player. You need another player in that lineup. And I could see Tatis being traded to the Yankees for a decent haul, but at the same time being a game changer and really bring the Yankees back into okay, yeah, well, crap, the Yankees are in town. I don't want to play the Yankees because their rotation's good. Your rotation's set as long as Garrett Cole comes back healthy. You have Heel as the number 4 starter. That's fantastic with it. But that lineup, other than Judge, not really anyone that fears me. Bellinger doesn't fear me anymore. Grisham's coming back on a $22 million deal. But anyway, we're talking about the NL. We're not talking about the AL here. I just don't trust the Padres. I could see them being 500 at best or a little bit better, but I see them more as a team that is not going to live up to expectations.
That's a bit of a spicy take for me.
For the Padres?
Yeah, because they were a 90-win team last year, and I know they lost Cease.
They lost Cease. They lost Suarez. Yeah, and they're just older.
But is that enough for them to drop that far in the standings?
It's because I think the other teams got better, and I will explain now.
Okay.
So the next team that I have, I think they made smart moves. The previous year, I don't think they made smart moves. But this year, I feel like they made smart moves. And at the deadline last year, they traded for a Boston Red Sox named Rafael Devers. The San Francisco Giants, I feel like, made smart moves this offseason. They didn't go out and get big names because they did that in the last season with getting Devers, and then they also got, their shortstop. Blanking on their name. Oh, my gosh. Anyway. Adames, yes, who I thought was an overpay. But I think that they made smart decisions with being a team that is going to play to their stadium and play to their strengths. They brought in a new manager from Tennessee, Tony Vitello. No manager experience in Major League Baseball whatsoever, not in the minors, just a college coach. But he was a really good college coach. This seems like a team that could really take a step forward because obviously when they traded for Devers last year, they were kind of like on the rise, but then Devers came in and it just kind of like feathered out a little bit. But I feel like a full year of Devers, they kind of get their ground underneath them, a new manager, new vibe for the team. They added a rise and they added Bader. Bader's a great defensive player, and that center field is absolutely huge. But they have Kim as well. Is it Kim? Yeah, in center field. I don't know how they're going to handle the outfield in terms of positioning, but they have good defense with Chapman at third. Like, I just feel I'm like, this team's actually pretty well-rounded. They're never going to be a team that's going to be an offensive threat, like powerhouse, because of that stadium. But Devers, Chapman, Adames, Bader, Arise, like I feel like they just added pieces that fit well together. And so I kind of got to give props to Buster Posey for taking chances on some stuff. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to try to do some stuff that fits. I'm not going to go out and get – obviously they got Adames last year and they traded for Devers. Like they made some big moves and spent some money. But Logan Webb, Robbie Ray leading the charge. They don't have Verlander anymore. But I could just see them really taking a step forward and being a better team. I don't think they're like, oh my gosh, they're going to be threats in the postseason, but I could see them being third place in that division and better than the Padres.
Okay.
Yeah. And that leads me to the Diamondbacks. This team, I feel like they're just a fun team. You know, they're still young. It seems like they shouldn't be young anymore because the last, 2023, we thought, all right, they're just a year too early making the World Series.
Yes.
But they're still young. Corbin Carroll is still in his 20s. Thomas is still in his 20s. They have Gurriel, I think, might be 30. But they re-signed Gallen. They re-signed Merrill Kelly. Or not re-signed. They signed him back after trading him away. Mm-hmm. They still have Eduardo Rodriguez. Rodriguez.
They have Eduardo Rodriguez.
Yeah, Eduardo Rodriguez. Thank you. And then they're getting Corbin Burns back in the mid-July.
Mm-hmm.
This rotation, they also have Fat too in that rotation. This team, if they just tread water to the All-Star break, I think that getting Corbin Burns back really solidifies them as a potential a wild card team. They are. I feel like they can be dangerous. Corbin Carroll is a fantastic player. But you know what really sets them apart now?
Your favorite third baseman of all time?
Yes. Not of all time. My favorite non-Philly third baseman of all time. Nolan Arenado is adding a veteran presence to the team that kind of just solidifies them as much more well-rounded. I feel like they were just too young, kind of immature, didn't really have a lot of groundwork to really kind of rely on. They just had a lot of young, inexperienced players around them. Ketel Marte doesn't seem like a guy who's really mature with how he handled with some of the stuff that's come out in the locker room. Perdomo is a great shortstop. He's completely underrated as a shortstop. But they have a lot of just fun young players, and I feel like Arenado might just be you know what, let's do this. Set an example for these guys. Arenado is respected. He's probably a future Hall of Famer. So this guy comes in. I feel like Arizona hasn't had that in their lineup or just in their locker room. They've had really good players, but not someone who's I was the best of the best at one point. And I think that, I don't think they're going to go out and win the World Series. I think they'll probably be the 6th or 7th seed in the wild card. But I could definitely see them being a threat to the division, or not the division, in the wild card. Yeah, I don't think that anyone. Let's just get to the Dodgers. Do you have something to say?
No. I think definitely having Arenado and Carlos Santana balances out the age difference quite a bit.
Yeah, no, it makes the average age a little bit different. Yeah. But yeah, I just because last year they didn't have a great year. But at the same time, like it's so hard with those three teams, the Diamondbacks, the Giants, and the Padres, because there's just so much going on in each of those teams that are like, yeah, they have expectations to make the playoffs, but I don't know. If I had to pick, I'd pick the Diamondbacks just because I feel like they have a lot more potential than all of them. But that's also with Corbin Burns coming back fully healthy. And then we just get to the Dodgers. They repeated as World Series champions. They added Edwin Diaz and Kyle Tucker to their team. The rotation is healthy. You know, last year Ohtani was coming back to start the season. He wasn't going to be starting full on in the starting pitching role. He was going to slowly ease back in. But they have Ohtani, they have Yamamoto, they have Blake Snell, they have Tyler Glasnow, Sasaki. They don't, and then they also have Edwin Diaz now solidified as the closer in that bullpen.
Yes,
Gratterall's coming back. It's ridiculous the amount of depth that they have. Mm-hmm. Now, will they stay healthy? Probably not, because one of the factors of this team is that they are not young. They are not young. Ohtani, Freeman, Betts, Muncy, I think Will Smith is now 30 or late 20s. All these guys are in their 30s. It's not something that I could see like being like, you know, just they play long postseasons. They played in the World Baseball Classic. There's just a lot of long seasons that are going to be. I mean, Betts had a down year. He was still had like a 4 WAR, but he was a down year. Freeman's getting older. I don't know. They're still the best team in baseball. Yeah. Easily. They're still the best team in baseball. Mm-hmm. But if there's going to be something that causes them to not make the playoffs or like not do as well as they should, it's going to be age being a factor. Yeah. That's just my opinion. Like, it might not be big injuries. It might just be like, oh, he's out, like little muscle, like just soft tissue injuries.
And that's what you're seeing early on with this Dodgers team, because Tommy Edman's going to be out for opening day. He has ankle problems.
Yeah.
I think Blake Snell's hurt too.
What did he do?
I don't know. I thought I heard he was out.
Oh, I didn't look that up. I'll be honest. I did not look that one up.
Yeah.
I think I heard something about. Anyway, if you have Blake Snell, you just replace him with Bobby Miller or their other guy. I can't remember his name. But yeah.
And to be fair to Mookie Betts, he was really sick. Like, there was something up with him last year.
Yeah.
Where he got really sick and lost weight.
Yeah, he lost like 10, 15 pounds. Yeah. It's just like, holy crap, Mookie, for the love of God, be okay.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, is anyone surprised about the Dodgers being my number 1 pick for the West?
No.
I understand
it's easy.
Yeah, I understand the Padres being number 4 on my list might be. And one of the reasons I don't do the actual like record, just because I'm like, that's too hard to predict.
Yeah.
But I could definitely see the Padres just being like, I know they added Castellanos. Oh, woohoo. But yeah, I don't know. Just don't see it.
I think out of the divisions that you're going to have, this is the one that can have the most variables in it. Mostly between the 2 and the 4. I think the Rockies are going to be solidified in last place, and the Dodgers are going to be solidified.
Yeah.
Like literally the worst and best teams in the same division.
Yeah.
It's the middle 3 that I can see honestly go any which direction depending on how their seasons go.
100%. Like I could see 3 teams coming out of this division. I don't think I could see 4, but I could see 3 teams coming out of this division for 4 can't. Can 4 come out? Yeah, 4 can come out of the division, right? You have three division winners and then 4 wild.
Yeah, technically. Yeah.
Wait, no, is there 7 or 6? Gosh, wow, we're so rusty right now.
It's 7, isn't it?
Is it? How many?
This is where the full disclosure comes in about our preparedness.
Well, I'm so rusty. I'm running on fumes, everyone. I can't focus right now. I need to go to bed, and it's 4:00. How many wildcard teams in MLB? This is 6. Yeah. That's what I was having a brain fart. That there can only be 3. Like, I could see 3 coming up, but I couldn't see 4. Yeah. Because if we had this, so there could be the 3 division winners and then 3 wildcard teams. Yeah. So they could be the Diamondbacks, Giants, and Padres all being wildcard. I don't see that, but I could definitely see the two of the teams being wild card. Okay. AL Central.
All right, moving on. Here's my predictions hot take. And I'll leave it up to the audience to determine how spicy it is. I don't think it's super spicy. But I do not think that the White Sox are going to be the worst team in the AL Central this year.
I'm actually not that surprised.
Yeah. I think the cellar is going to belong to the one team that should have a retractable roof, but does not.
Yeah.
The Minnesota Twins. Now, why do I think they're going to be so bad? For one, they were bad last year.
Why are they going to be bad? Well, they were bad last year.
They were 70-92, which is bad, obviously. After that crash of a season, they now have a new manager, Derek Shelton replacing Rocco Baldelli, and a new head of baseball operations. So this is a team that appears to be at least in a transitional mode, if not a rebuild. Mm-hmm. And that's just behind the scenes. They traded away 10 players during last year's trade deadline. And in their place is a lot of younger players who we have to see how they pan out. And guys who we have no idea how healthy they're going to be. Looking at you, Buxton. I looked at their depth chart, and apart from Josh Bell, who was their big splash, if you could call it that, and Royce Lewis, who is quickly turning into a bust, I don't really know much of anything about these guys. Oh, wait, sorry, Gio Urshela. They do have Gio Urshela still. Yankees legend.
Yankees legend.
There's not too much happening rotation-wise either, apart from Joe Ryan. So, in short, I could see another 90-loss campaign this year. And if their prospects don't pan out and Buxton gets hurt again, they could get into triple digits in losses. I don't think they have much, if anything, going on right now in Minnesota.
Yeah. What happened to their one pitcher? Is he hurt? The rotation. You're
not talking about Joe Ryan, right?
No. I mean, Mick Abel should be fun to watch.
Yeah.
Phillies legend. But they're I guess he might be on the IL.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Keep talking. I'll come up with it.
Yeah. Well, the White Sox, I'll move on to them. The definition of utter losers the last few years, who very well could compete with the Twins for last place. I'm not going to say they're going to be a good team.
Yeah.
But unlike the Twins, who honestly don't have much in the way of excitement heading their way, unless their prospects do well, the White Sox seem to be heading in a little bit of a better direction. Heck, they still lost 102 games last year, but it's better than the year before when they lost 121 games. So maybe they'll jump up another 20 wins. Who knows?
Yeah.
The wild card to me is not the beleaguered Luis Robert, who the Mets can have good riddance. And it's not Phillies legend Sir Anthony Dominguez. I think their success and hype factor is going to rely on that out of the blue. Can't believe the White Sox actually did its signing. And that's Munetaka Murakami. First baseman from Japan, 4-time All-Star there, and he even won the Triple Crown over in Japan. So, an impressive talent.
Yep.
It's a 2-year deal, so who knows if he'll actually stay or if he'll even pan out. The way he brings to this team and this fan base is something to look forward to, which is something they haven't had in a long time. Complement that with Austin Hayes, and this team may not be completely terrible.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see if they maybe creep under the 90-loss mark this year, or if they'll totally crash and burn. My next team is one similar to the issues of the A's, except in reverse. And while they did re-sign their premier bat, there's not a ton else going on in that lineup. If you haven't guessed, I'm talking about Cleveland. And I bring them up here fully aware that they won a division last year. But let's be honest, Michael. What carried them last year was their starting pitching.
Yeah.
And that really showed in the wild card series against Detroit, because apart from a 5-run burst in the 8th inning of Game 2, they only put up 5 runs in all the other innings of the 3 games. They do have those guys back. Beebe, Gavin Williams, Logan Allen. Solid guys. We don't need to bring up the certain closer from last year who's not there this year, so it'll be up to Cade Smith to hold down the fort in the bullpen. But what astounds me is that they didn't really get anyone for that lineup. Rhys Hoskins got a minor league signing, big deal. Bo Naylor was terrible. Steve Kwan was all right, but not like the production he had previously. This seems to be really hinging on... They seem to really be hinging things on Jose Ramirez to really carry everything. Carried the team on his back.
Again.
And there's only so much one man can do. So honestly, looking back, the Guardians are more fortunate than good last year, because the Tigers blew the largest lead in MLB division history last year. And the Royals had a down year. With this team being essentially the same, I don't think they're going to be as lucky as last year, especially if, the other two teams I'm going to talk about are going to be more consistent and live up to where they should be in terms of talent. Speaking of down years, my divisional prediction last year had the Royals winning the AL Central. Let's just say that didn't pan out as much as I would have thought. Not that they were an awful team, but they did get off to a bad start. They were below 500 at the All-Star break. And while they did finish 82-80, it was still a disappointment. Despite that, I still believe in the Royals as a solid team. When you have Bobby Witt Jr. and the ageless wonder, Salvador Perez, in your lineup, you still got to be going places. Vinny Pasquantino, 30 home run year. So the top of that lineup is pretty stacked. Where this team suffered last year was after you got past those guys, particularly the outfielders. I guess the idea was once you got through those three, the rest of the lineup was a breeze. I looked up their stats on Baseball Reference, like the guys after, Perez and Pasquantino and Bobby Witt. The 6 to 9 guys had 15 home runs total. 15. And I know Kansas City isn't exactly a hitter's park, but you got to getting more home run production out of those guys.
Yeah.
And that doesn't include Jonathan India, who we're waiting on to repeat his Rookie of the Year talent.
Yeah.
I mean, what a waste he's been.
Yep.
But thankfully for the Royals, they did get some outfield help. They got Starling Marte and they got Lane Thomas.
Yeah.
They will also be getting Cole Reagans back on the pitching staff after having rotator cuff issues last year.
Oof. Sorry, I had rotator cuff surgery, and I just don't think that's good.
Sorry, I brought up the rough memory.
PTSD.
Yeah, PTSD. Sorry. I really don't have much in the way of concerns for their rotation. When it's healthy, I think it's one of the best. The questions are, can the Stars continue to bring the star power? And can the bottom of the lineup pick up the slack? If they do, they can have a great bounce back last year and get back to the postseason after missing it last year. If not, they'll have another 500 campaign.
Okay. All right. Yep.
And now on to the team, which I think is another easy pick, in my opinion, for a division winner.
Yeah.
Like the AL West, I don't think there's much of a dispute as to who the favorites are going to be. And the Tigers are a team that in every respect should have won the Central last year. On August 23rd, they were 11.5 games ahead in first place. They went 9-22 after that, allowing the Guardians to storm back and take the division after a total collapse. Now, granted, they did get some revenge by beating Cleveland in the wild card series. But Detroit is still looking to prove that they are the real deal. And the realest deal out of all of them, Tarek Skubal, along with Skeens, the best pitcher in baseball, and earned that record arbitration deal, $22 million over 1 year.
22?
22.
That was 32.
That was 22.
That was 32. Continue.
Well, he got a lot of money.
Continue, yeah.
But he got some help behind him, too. The aforementioned Framer Valdez projected to be the number 2 starter. And even Justin Verlander's back. I don't know if he's going to do anything, but hey, Justin Verlander.
32.
32.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a typo.
Yeah.
There's a typo.
Adding Kenley Jensen as your closer, and you got a pitching staff that should be at least solid, but with all the systems going, could be lights out. Their lineup's very well balanced. Torkelson, Riley Green, Gleyber Torres, Kerry Carpenter leading the way. And there's a lot of excitement around this guy, Kevin McGonigal, who's a top prospect, a shortstop, who had a 991 OPS in the minors last year through all 3 levels and is touted to be an impact player. So all that is to say this. From the late 2010s to the early 2020s, the Tigers are hard to watch. They were a terrible team.
Yes, they were.
Really bad. But in 2026, they are a must-watch team. And I think they could run away with the division as all the pieces fall into place. A lot to look forward to if you are a Tigers fan listening to this podcast.
Okay, so a couple of things. One, Gio Urshela got released from the Minnesota Twins yesterday. So he's not even on the Twins anymore.
So that's one less person I know on the Twins.
It's one less person you know on the Twins. The pitcher that I was thinking was Pablo Lopez, but he missed time last year for an injury, and then he's missing the entire season because of UCL. So, I was like, wait a minute, what happened with Lopez? Like, I felt like he was injured, but then I wasn't sure if he was going to be coming back, but he's missing the entire year.
Yes.
When is Kansas City getting a new stadium? Because that could really help their chances of improving with a better stadium.
Few years.
Yeah.
I think it's like 2028, 2029.
Yeah.
Something in that. It's like a downtown ballpark too, if I remember right.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree that the Twins are probably going to be worse than the White Sox, because the White Sox actually took a step forward, as hard it is to believe that, but they took a step forward.
Yes.
The Twins took a step back, actually probably took like 15 steps back.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like Cleveland's going to take a step back as well. They can't keep getting away with this of just being an absolute mediocre team and then just finding ways to do it. They're kind of like the Tampa Bay Rays of like 5-10 years ago. You're just like, how the heck do they keep doing this? But Jose Ramirez is arguably top 5 player in baseball.
Yeah.
Agree with you with Kansas City. I don't think the rotation's as good as a lot of other rotations. I feel like you said that they could be one of the best.
They could be.
Yeah, they don't scare me. Like, yeah, they have some good pitchers with Raggins and Lugo and Waka, and it's nothing scares me about it. Like, Cole Raggins isn't necessarily like, it's not Scooble, or anyone like in the Phillies or Yankees, but like he's a good pitcher. But yeah, Tigers. They have the most star power now, and which is weird to say because 2 years ago you were like, who the heck's on the Tigers? Yeah. Now everyone's like, oh yeah, Tigers, yeah, they're probably the best team in the Central. But they also have a lot of just. I feel like the stuff with Scooble in the offseason kind of put like a damper, because then they signed Framber, and they're like, wait a minute, why are you signing Framber when you're not even giving a contract to the guy that everyone on the team likes?
Yeah,
and just like creating that tension. I'm not sure if it's because of the lockout or what, but. No, they should win the division. I feel like they need to like solidify themselves as like the best team almost in baseball, really, to make people like, yeah, we're gonna be the best team. Like last year, they were the best team for a while. They had the best record in baseball till like July or August, and then they hit the fan. But I agree with you. Yeah, nothing too crazy, but yeah, the White Sox. How do you pronounce his name? The White Sox.
Murakami.
Yeah, he's going to be traded by the...
Murakami.
Yeah, he's going to be traded to some team at the deadline, 100%. As long as he's hitting... If he has 20 home runs at the deadline, yeah, he's going somewhere to make an impact, because that contract is too good for someone to pass up. Too good. All right, time for the NL Central. And I'll just start off with this team, the St. Louis Cardinals. This baffles me to even think that the St. Louis Cardinals could be a 100-loss team. Who's on this team anymore? They lost Arenado. They lost Donovan. They lost Sonny Gray. Who's on this team? There's no one. When you think of St. Louis baseball, you do not think of. You think of Mark McGwire. Think of Albert Pujols. You think of all these guys that are absolutely studs, like Ozzie Smith. Just great tradition, history, baseball town. They are going to be absolute garbage in a division that I don't think is super strong, in my opinion. It's not the strongest division, but gosh, the Cardinals suck.
Yeah.
Like, they're even had the Big Mac sale. If you haven't seen that, they're going to like all you can eat food for like $25-30.
I think I did see something
it's
like
in
that.
like left field or something like that. I'm like, really? Like, are Cardinals fans really not showing up? And I don't think they are, because this team is full rebuild. But the biggest problem about this team is that their prospects have not worked out. They haven't. Mason Wynn hit 673 OPS last year.
Bad.
Jordan Walker is an absolute bust. The dude looks like he's 50 years old, and he can't hit more than 15 home runs. And dude's like 6'6", like built like a freaking tank. But he sucks. It's so hard for me to fathom that the St. Louis Cardinals could lose 100 games this year.
Yeah.
Like, it's a possibility.
Yeah.
100%. I know they have Lars Nootbaar, but no one on that team scares me.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
I know they made the playoffs a couple of years ago, but I feel, to me, the Cardinals have been dying this slow death for a decade.
Yeah.
From being like, they just find ways to win. They're kind of like the Dodgers, where they just win games, then find ways to win. To like, everybody getting older, and then, you lose Pujols and all these other guys retire. And I don't know why they didn't just step back sooner to do this rebuild. Yeah. I felt like they just dragged this out until they got rid of absolutely everyone. And then once Arenado's gone, now we can do the rebuild.
Yeah.
And there's going to be, they could be a 100-loss team because I don't recognize any of these people.
Yeah.
Except Lars Nootbaar.
Dustin May is on the team.
Oh, wow.
I think one of the reasons why they held off on this is, like I said, I think the division was weak. The Reds were not good at the time. Pirates were Pirates. The Brewers, you never know with it. And then the Cubs weren't necessarily they weren't like a powerhouse. They were getting better, but you were like, oh, we're still the best team in the division. We're gonna try. We have Arenado, we had Goldie, we had Sonny Gray. Michaelis was a lot they thought was a potential, and they're like, oh, we have the prospects coming up. Yeah. We can do this, and the prospects didn't pan out, and because of that, they are slowly they're gonna have to rebuild. They're in rebuild right now.
Well, yeah, they stripped their roster pretty much.
It's surprising that they didn't get rid of Marmol, their manager. That's their biggest surprise. I thought with them kind of doing this rebuild that they would just completely rehaul, because he kind of felt like he was on the hot seat for the last 2 years.
He might be gone early on. If they get off to a really bad start, you might see him go.
Did they give him an extension? I feel like Carlos Marmol. I feel like they gave him. No, that's not Carlos Marmol. Carlos Marmol is a former pitcher, St. Louis manager. What's his name? Oli Marmol. That's what it is. They had an extension with him. They sent him an extension
over the off season.
Yeah, that's why I was like, wait, what?
Even still though, how long has he been the manager for now?
Let's see, the 5 years, 5 years, it's easily right.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, it's been a bit. Gosh, yeah. I mean, they won the Central in 2022, but since then since the Phillies beat them with it.
I don't know. I don't think it's unheard of to have a kind of signing, and then if things go really bad, you're gone.
Yeah.
I think he could be fired at some point in the season.
I could see that. It depends on how much money's locked up in the contract. But I remember seeing that. I was like, really? Unless they really believe that, hey, you're going to be here for the rebuild. Are you okay with that? And he's like, yeah, sure, whatever. I'll get paid.
Yeah.
Whatever. But anyway, it's just it's so hard for me to fathom the Cardinals being the worst team in a division, and possibly they won't be as bad as the Rockies.
No.
I don't think so. But who knows? You never know. That would be an absolute disaster for St. Louis. Okay, this is going to come as a surprise, especially since this team made the playoffs last year. The Cincinnati Reds are the next team, in my opinion, that they're going to be finishing fourth. Originally, I did not have them finishing fourth. I had them finishing second. But when I heard the news of Hunter Green, he's going to be out with I think he's got elbow discomfort. They don't know when he's going to be coming back. They said maybe in July, but anything with an elbow, you just know something's going to linger. And I was like, he's kind of the centerpiece of that team. But De La Cruz is obviously the centerpiece of the lineup, but I feel like Hunter Green was that first player that they had in kind of hopes that they would be good, and he's just. So I heard that, I was like, oh no. Obviously, they have Francona leading the way. They led him to the playoffs last year. That was big surprise. They were outmatched by a huge margin in the playoffs against the Dodgers, but everyone's like, oh, they're here a year too early. But they have potential, and bear in mind, they have potential. They did get rid of Gavin Lux, who I don't even know exactly what to expect of Gavin Lux anymore. They they got Eugenio Suarez, who's also been with them before. So they're going to hit some home runs, hoping with De La Cruz and Eugenio Suarez and a couple other guys. But they don't scare me on this team. Even in the playoffs last year, I was like, yeah, this team doesn't scare me. Even with Suarez signing, this team doesn't scare. Their rotation could be good. With Ashcraft and Chase Burns leading the way, Chase Burns could be a potential ace coming up with, but I feel like Hunter Green, missing out on Hunter Green, really put a damper on this team. Again, this division I feel like is not super competitive in my opinion. It's probably the least competitive in the NL, but it's just I really think the Hunter Green thing really put a damper on this team with it. They have a lot of talent, of potential with it, but it just feels like they're just not going to get over the hump. Mostly because I think one team that I said would finish second in the division this year, I'm putting them third in the division this year. The Pittsburgh Pirates. Oh my, they actually did something. They did something. And while I don't agree with everything that they did, they took a step forward. One of the first things that we heard this offseason was that they offered Kyle Schwarber over $100 million. Now, obviously, he did not sign it, but even the news that it came out, people were like, no, that can't be true. What? That can't be true. They offered him $100 million? Yeah. Obviously, Schwarber was never going to Pittsburgh. He couldn't do that. But they at least put it out there. They're like, you know what? We're going to try. And they didn't get Schwarber, but they also offered Josh Naylor some money as well, which was also another surprise because we didn't think he'd be getting that much money, but he did. He ended up signing with Seattle, as Kev mentioned. But they traded for Brandon Lau. They signed Ryan O'Hearn and Marcell Ozuna. And they have Bubba Chandler coming up to be behind Skeens and Mitch Keller. And also, they have the number one prospect in baseball looming in minor leagues. There was potential that he was going to be on the opening day roster. In my opinion, I thought he should be because did you see any of Connor Griffin highlights?
A little bit.
Dude, he's 6'4". He's going to be a future MVP in my opinion. He struggled a little bit the last couple weeks in spring training, but he's going to start in minor leagues. But he should be up. I was looking it up. He should be up sometime in May or June, just for control purposes, I think. Yeah. But man, the Pirates are at least interesting this year. Like last year, they were just like you have Skeens and then that's it. Obviously, they have Brian Reynolds. They got rid of Key Brian Hayes last year, and they still have O'Neal Cruz, who knows if he's ever going to turn out to be the player that we think he's going to be. Yeah. But the thing is, their lineup's a little bit deeper. It's deeper, and that allows them to, Skeens would be, I think I saw the stat, he would have been 20, he would be 40-something and 2 or 3 or something like that if they scored 3 runs a game. I'm like, oh my gosh. It's just, Skeens is, it's a shame because if they struggle, Skeens is definitely getting traded at the deadline. I think this deadline is going to actually be a good deadline. If my projections are good, Tatis could be going to the Yankees and Skeens could be going probably. I don't see him going to the Yankees now because of just how good their rotation is and how much money they'll have locked up in there. But I could see Skeens going somewhere, 100%. Ooh. I wonder if he'd go to Atlanta. I could see that. But I'll get to that in a second. Anyway, Pirates are going to be exciting this year. I hope they are. Yeah. They're going to be at least something to talk about, which is great. So we'll see. I have them finishing third. Who knows? They could also just be the absolute worst team in baseball because that's just how the organization is. But hopefully they took a step forward, and I could see them being actually a decent team this year. Okay. Now, oh gosh, I don't know how to explain this. The Brewers last year were the best team in Major League Baseball, but I can't trust them. I don't get it, especially losing Freddie Peralta. They traded away Freddie. I know he's on the last year of his contract, but if you're a team that has potential they were they lost to the Dodgers in the championship series, but come on, man, you're basically 4 wins away from the World Series, and you're like, you know what, we're gonna trade away our best pitcher because he's on the last year of his contract to get some prospects, so that way we can just be a good to average team each and every year. They needed to take a step forward and challenge themselves, but they didn't. Obviously, losing Peralta, that's a big loss. He was a really good pitcher. He's now with the Mets. But they have Contreras, Turang, and Yelich. Yelich is not the player he used to be. He had a decent year. Bryce Turang's a good player. He's a fun player. We saw in the World Baseball Classic. He's a fun player to watch. Contreras had a down year. I picked him to be my MVP last year, I think. But I don't know. They should be a really good team. But I just don't see them repeating as division winner. I don't have many more notes on that because the Brewers is just a very uninteresting team. Am I wrong?
No, you're not. They are the definition to me, I think, of overperforming. They are not a 97-win baseball team.
No.
I think they just they got on some crazy run. They had and they got to the NLCS. I mean, they got demolished by LA.
Yeah.
And that's when they showed their true colors. But yeah, I don't think this team is that good.
Yeah.
Not that good.
Yeah.
They're not they're not an awful team, but I don't think they're a great team.
Yeah. Their bullpen should be okay with it. But rotation, Brandon Woodruff's their number one. And I'm like, he's coming off shoulder surgery. I'm just like, anytime shoulder surgery, I get worried because shoulder surgery is a lot worse than the elbow injury nowadays. But yeah, I just don't see them repeating as division winner. They'll be a good team, but they're not a great team. And you're right. That's a great definition. They're an overperforming team. And that leads me to the Cubs. And I have to give them some respect. Last year, I told everyone that I just did not think that their offense would be good.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wrong.
You chose the Pirates over them, didn't you?
I had Pirates finishing second. I don't think this division's very strong, but I was wrong. I'm admitting my fault. Okay, I am wrong one time out of 99. Okay, forgive me. So I want to give them some respect. They lost Kyle Tucker, but then they gained Alex Bregman. In the rotation, they have a chance to be good, but they could also be below average. They added Edward Cabrera from the Marlins, who has a lot of potential, but they re-signed Imanaga. Boyd is still there, and there's another guy on the team. I can't remember his name. I did not write that in my notes. But the reason why is that they could be below average. Tyler Steele. Yeah. They could be below average because none of those guys are just absolute studs. There's depth, but they're not like great. So that offense has to carry them with Peaker Armstrong, Dansby Swanson, Alex Bregman, all those guys, Sasaki, blah, 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 all of that. I think they're going to win the division, but I just don't see. They just are a team that for some reason I just can't believe in either. Like, I don't know. There's just something like Bregman's good, but I feel like Bregman's not Kyle Tucker in terms of potential. Like Bregman could have 15 home runs in Wrigley, 100 easily. He could bat 300, but only have 15 home runs. I feel like he's more of a staple in that lineup than Kyle Tucker, but the threat of the Cubs isn't there. But I want to give them respect. Their offense was really good last year, and they should win. They should win the division. They should be favorites to win the division just because they have the best team overall. But they're not someone that I'm like. If I were to face the Cubs, also the Cubs closer, they have a good closer. He Venezuela. He closed out for Venezuela.
Palencia,
yeah,
or Valencia,
yeah, fantastic closer. So they have that. They lost a couple people, but overall they should be the best team in the Central. Mm-hmm. Any thoughts?
Yeah, out of most of the divisions, this is probably going to be the one of the ones that's going to be the easiest to win. I don't think it's going to take much for the Cubs to do it. I think the Cubs will win it as well. But to your point, I don't think they're a great team. I don't believe in them either, really. I certainly don't believe in Milwaukee. I think they have a little bit of fraudulence in them. The Brewers, and I really want to see the Reds do well. I guess it's just because I got so hyped about them last year and they made the playoffs. And I am looking forward to seeing what Pittsburgh will do because Pittsburgh hasn't had this kind of excitement in a long time either.
Yep. And
it's amazing what one player will do for a baseball team.
Yeah.
You bring in one star, you get one star, you pull like a gold ring out of the sewer, as it were. And now it's like, okay, now we're gonna get some guys to build around him.
Yep.
So we keep him. So no, I'm anticipating what Pittsburgh's gonna do. They're the one team I'm interested in watching the most out of all of them, even though I don't think they're gonna win a division.
Yeah.
They're the most curious team for me to watch.
Yeah, and it's good. Pittsburgh deserves some good baseball.
Yeah,
they do. It's a shame McCutcheon's not on the team though.
Yeah,
he should have retired. He should have never left. He should have been a Pittsburgh for life. I almost said Steeler, a Pirate for life. But yeah, all right. Last AL division.
I hate this division so much,
dude. It is such a good division.
It's awful having them be in such a tough division year after year. It's probably going to be a tough division again this year.
100%,
with one exception. How about the Rays, huh? At least they're in a major league facility this year, if you could call it that. But to be fair, in any other division, the Rays would be an above 500 team. They would.
Yep.
But just being above 500 in the AL East is not going to cut it. And they're likely going to be a mid team again this year. For one, they seem to really hang their offensive hopes on a handful of guys. Yandy Diaz, who's in his mid-30s, Jonathan Aranda, who had a .316 average last year, and of course, Junior Caminero, who could be a force at the plate for years to come.
Yes.
No more Lau, which stinks for them, but frankly fits the Rays' MO of not really paying guys all that much and keeping their farm system intact. They did pick up Cedric Mullins and Gavin Lux, who we mentioned before, who are fine, but they're not superstars. But as we know, the strength generally for the Rays is more the pitching than the hitting. And if Rasmussen and Petia can continue to be solid starters, and you're hoping and praying that McClanahan, they keep him in ice somewhere.
For love of God. For love of God.
Like keep him just like in a block of ice in between starts so he doesn't get hurt. They could very well perform again. I don't have much else to say about them, honestly. They were not great last year. They're probably not going to be great this year. Don't worry, Rays fans. At least a new stadium is in the works.
Yeah. McClanahan hasn't pitched since 2023.
Yeah, it's sad. It's so sad because he's a really good pitcher.
Really good pitcher.
He's a really good pitcher.
Yeah, I was like, are you not gonna say McClanahan? I was like, he's supposed to be coming back.
Yeah.
But I was like, for the love of God, Tampa Bay, protect him at all costs. He's a great pitcher. He's probably gonna be traded at the deadline. Yeah. That's another guy who could be on the move.
Maybe. Yeah. Now that I got the Rays out of the way, let's get to the teams who can realistically all compete for a playoff spot this year. The first team on this list is the Orioles. Now, there is no doubt that they let people down in a big way last year. No one saw their last place finish coming, especially after the promise of 2024. Yeah. The core of the Orioles youth movement, Gunnar, Holiday, Rauchman, Cowser, Mountcastle, they all underwhelmed. The pitching staff? Early on, it was one of the worst things I ever witnessed.
Yes.
It was a sight to behold, and they had no Grayson Rodriguez to stop the bleeding. They fired Brandon Hyde and finished under 500 after winning 91 games the year before. So at least, they got off to a rough start, and they kind of plateaued a little in their badness. So they didn't do super bad the rest of the way.
Plateaued in their badness. What a phrase. What a phrase.
As a fun fact, though, during the 2025 season, the Orioles used 70 different players. Tying the previous Major League Baseball record for most players used in a single season.
Oh, my gosh.
70. Your roster has 25 players on it, by the way.
26.
26, yeah. Despite such a horror show of a season, I do think this is more of a blip on the radar than a long-term decline. For one thing that's been missing from this team with all of its youth in the lineup was a veteran power bat. And they filled that void with Pete Alonso. The scorned Pete Alonso, who signed a 5-year, $155 million deal. And that's a big addition to an infield that will be missing Jackson Holiday and Jordan Westberg for opening day. So he's going to be needed. While they did trade away Grayson, they did get Taylor Ward, who's another power guy. It seems to me that the core of this team is going to bounce back. So the lineup, I'm feeling all right about. Like last year, the rotation is where this season's going to be made or broke.
Yeah.
They reformed this rotation. They brought in Shane Baz from the Rays, Chris Bassett from the Blue Jays. Though a lot of this is going to rely on Trevor Rogers, who broke out last year after being safe from Miami. Another person safe from Miami.
Yes.
It seems like the rest of Major League Baseball is just coming together to help all these guys just leave that purgatory. And Kyle Bradish, who's been given a chance to really prove himself. And I would be amiss if we did not mention the truly sad story of Felix Bautista. Poor Felix Bautista. Someone who, after coming back from Tommy John surgery, tore his rotator cuff and labrum, and will probably be missing all of this season too.
Gosh.
Terrible, terrible news for such a talent. So Ryan Helsley and his not-so-great Mets talent will have to close at least for now. I know I said a lot about how this team was not good last year. I do think they'll be back to being good this year. Good enough to compete against the other great 3 teams in this division, though. That remains to be seen.
Yeah. Okay. 2 things. The Bautista threw, this was 2 weeks ago, Bautista threw from 45 feet on flat ground. He is hoping to pitch later this season.
Yeah.
So he could miss all of it.
He could.
I can't remember what I was going to say about the Orioles. There's something about the Orioles that I'm just like, oh, what? Oh, gosh. It was something about the offense, I think. Oh, Taylor Ward.
Yeah.
Is he a power hitter with that left field fence move back?
Yeah. Maybe they're gonna have to move it back in.
Yeah. Tyler Rogers. I hated him as a Marlin because I was like, this dude's gonna be good.
Yeah.
And then he just hit something happened. He just all of a sudden was crap. Yeah. I was like, all right, well, I really liked him. I was like, he looks pretty good. And then he finally came back last year with Orioles. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. That'd be really cool if he came back because I was like, he looks fun to watch and fun to play for. So he had a good year. That'd be great if he was like a top 10 Cy Young candidate for Baltimore. I know you're a Yankees fan. I like the O's. It'd be great if the O's were competitive this year and actually fun to watch.
They could be.
Because they have a fun team. I feel like they have a lot of potential to be a fun team.
They do.
But talking with a bunch of O's fans like Rollo and Kyle, they're just like, God, these guys just always break our hearts. Yeah. Okay. Continue.
All right. The choice between third and second was probably the toughest decision I had to make in my predictions. And I don't know if that's because I've been so frustrated with one of these teams or the fact that the other has a lot of potential in their prospects, particularly in one prospect. Ultimately, however, I went with the stronger lineup for second place over the one that's arguably got the weaker one for third, and that third place team is the Red Sox. If it's one thing the Red Sox do well is that they truly add fire to the rivalry with the moves that they make. Whether it was getting Chapman last year, who turned into like the best closer last year.
Yeah, what the heck?
Or IKF from Toronto.
Oh, Yankees legend.
And especially Sonny Gray this year.
Oh, another Yankees legend. Well, Chapman, IKF, and Sonny Gray, all Yankees legends.
But, I mean, that's not only pluses for them, IKF notwithstanding. But it's also good for the rivalry. I like seeing that fire and competition. It makes the Yankees and Red Sox exciting and interesting.
It needs it bad.
And baseball is truly at its best, in my opinion, when these two teams are really good.
Yes.
When they are both great, like the early 2000s, like it was bigger than the World Series watching those teams, honestly. They added more rotation depth. They picked up Ranger Suarez. They also added Wilson Contreras to fill in at first base. And Roman Anthony is just dying to truly break out.
Yep.
Unlike the Yankees mentality, the Red Sox saw that they made the playoffs and wanted to make even more moves to build upon last year. All of that is to say, however, that even though they built up their staff behind Crochet, I'm not confident enough in them to say that their lineup is up to the level of their rivals, at least not yet. Bregman was a one-and-done deal, which looks even worse in retrospect.
Yeah.
Because they chose him over Devers in their little controversy, and now they don't have either guy. Duran didn't have a bad year last year, but it was not his 2024 campaign. The Red Sox will be counting on a lot of youth. They have a big youth movement right now with Anthony, with Duran, with Brian Bello, and other guys. They could probably obtain the 90-game threshold, but more likely than not will be hovering in the high 80s, I think, just because of what they're up against in the division with them, including their mortal enemy in New York.
Yeah, I feel like the Red Sox could be the best team if everything works out. Yeah. For some reason, I just feel
it's the prospects. It's going to rely on the prospects.
Yeah, like if Roman Anthony turns into MVP caliber, which I could totally see it happening. I feel like their rotation got a lot better with Crochet and Ranger and Bello. I was like, this team. I don't know. I don't think they are the best team in baseball, but like the AL. But I feel like they have the most potential. Like there's a lot of like unknowns, but like I feel like it's a lot of positive. Like, yeah, they could be the best team in that division, or they could, but I don't think they're finishing anything worse than third. Yeah, easily.
Well, I think they were ranked like the best farm system in baseball a couple of years ago, and it shows in the prospects they're building up. So it's exciting for the Red Sox. Speaking of mortal enemy, what can I say about the Yankees that I've not said before? I've talked a great deal about what they haven't done, so let me try and not be so negative, at least to start, and look at the positives, because the Yankees do have a lot of them. What I'm most excited about is Garrett Cole coming back, and I know he won't be fully back until May or June, but it will still be good to see him throw.
Yes.
When everyone is healthy, including Rodon, who's also starting the season on the IL, the Yankees have a scary rotation. With Rodon, with Fried, with Cole, with Heel, even like Cam Schlittler, if he continues to do what he did in last year's postseason, and he's had a good spring training. So hopefully he's not a one-and-done deal. He's exciting. Devin Williams is gone, so he could go blow games from the Mets for all I care. While David Bednar came in as a godsend for that bullpen late in the year because that was a big problem. Heck, I would love to see Carlos LaGrange, one of their prospects, come up and pitch a bit to compliment him. As for the other guys, you know what? I like seeing Paul Goldschmidt back. Yeah, he probably won't be seeing a ton of playing time because Ben Rice is going to be starting at first base. But still, he's a good veteran presence for Rice, who came off a great year playing 2 positions last year. The outfield, solid. The Yankees managed to find a good middle ground with the Bellinger contract, and he is a good fit for Yankee Stadium. You have hopes that Trent Grisham won't be a one-and-done either with his out-of-nowhere 30 home run season. And, of course, best player in the American League, all-time Yankee, in my opinion, minus the ring, my captain, Aaron Judge. He is truly something to watch, at least in the regular season. Postseason has been improving at least a little bit. I like having people who can run the bases for this team. You know, Jazz Chisholm and utility guys like Ahmed Rosario. And with Volpe out, we're going to see Jose Caballero start at shortstop on opening day. And if he plays well enough, maybe we could finally do something about Volpe. There is a good deal to be happy about. I can't shake the fact that the Yankees of 2026 are essentially the Yankees of 2025. And what were the Yankees of 2025? A team that, despite their wealth of talent, couldn't do the simplest things. A team who I could never rely upon to be clutch when it mattered. I don't think I watched a game last year where they hit a walk-off. And when the postseason came, they beat the Red Sox. Great, you beat your rival. But got steamrolled by Toronto. Allowing a team to clinch a postseason series for the 3rd consecutive year on your own turf. Do you know how demoralizing it is to continue to see the opposing team celebrate on your field year after year after year? It gets to somebody. It gets to a sports fan. And the last decade and a half for this Yankees team is they get your hopes up, right? It's we're 2017 and 2019. Oh, we're going places. We're making the LCS. And then they just crush your hopes in the end with these excruciating endings, whether it's 2017 with the Astros, the Altuve walk-off in 2019, the Freddie Freeman versus Nestor Cortez, all these different things. I don't need to regurgitate the entire history, but you get the idea.
Yeah, please don't.
Will the Yankees make the postseason? Sure. Will they be champions, let alone division winners? They have to prove that to me.
Okay. I have comments, but I want to wait till after.
But to get to my final team in this American League preview, baseball is truly a game of inches, isn't it?
Yep.
And that certainly can be said of the Blue Jays in last year's World Series. They were inches away with Yankees legend IKF so close to scoring that championship-clinching run. The last it was not meant to be, and the baseball world groaned at the Dodgers winning again. But while they lost in painstaking fashion last year, the Blue Jays are certainly in a great spot to go for it again this year. Going into 2025, I believe I'd take the Blue Jays to be in 4th place. I did not believe in their lineup outside of a few players to be able to bring them to the postseason. I was wrong, and wrong big. They ended up with the best record in baseball. Or no, they didn't end up with the best record in baseball. Best record in the American League. With the highest team average in baseball. So yeah, so much for that. So much for my prediction on the hitting. Bo Bichette isn't there anymore, and Santander will be out for a good part of the year. I recognize that, but still, having Vlad isn't bad. You see what I did there?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And unfortunately, George Springer, who I hate in a baseball sense, not necessarily as a person, he might be a great guy outside baseball. I can't stand him on the field, was key to their pennant run. I got to give him credit. But more to that, what impresses me the most about the Blue Jays is not necessarily stats, it's their at-bats, how they play the game. You watch their at-bats, and they fight for every pitch. They take so long. But in the end, they generally succeed at getting on base. And that's truly the mark of a championship contender, is with the ability to chip away until you get where you need to get, catch a break. On the pitching end, they definitely improved their rotation, signing Dylan Cease, who is really needed now because they have Shane Bieber and Barrios and just Savage all battling injury right now. So it's going to be a rough start to the beginning of the Blue Jays season. Amazingly enough, Scherzer still wants to pitch, so we'll see how that works out. But overall, their theme is, you could call it, their theme is fight. They have a lot of fight, and that is what's going to put them above and beyond the other teams in the AL East. And that's why they are the division winners this year to me.
I disagree with you. I don't think that the Blue Jays can replicate what they did last year. I know that they do put up. We've seen it. They put up really good at bats. I think Bo Bichette leaving is bigger impact than what the lineup probably is going to feel like. I think him leaving, they're going to feel it more than they thought. Obviously, Dylan Cease signing, he got overpaid. He can strike out people, but his ERA was in the 4.5s or something like that last year. And Toronto's a hitter's park. Like it's. Do I think they're going to be a good team? Yeah, they have a lot of talent, but I think that division is just too good. I think it's going to be everyone's just going to be beating up on each other. Like I don't think there's going to be a lot of no one's going to run away with it. I feel like it's going to be a 3-team race probably till the last week, and then it'll be probably within 4 games of each other. But do I think that Toronto's going to win the division? The injury problems at the rotation definitely hurt them a lot.
Yeah,
with those guys. But I just think that they could be. Are they favorites to win the division?
I believe they are.
Okay.
They made the World Series, so that's probably why they're the favorites.
Yeah, I just don't think that. I mean, how often do you see a team that made the World Series make it back again, other than the Dodgers, right away, and be a continuous really good team?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that from my perspective, obviously the teams better than I do, but because that division is just so tough. I don't think the Rays are going to be the best team in baseball, and you have them finishing last. I could see them beating up on Toronto easily. I don't know. I just think that division is so hard to predict. So hard. But I don't think Toronto is going to win the division. I don't know who is going to win the division, but in my opinion, I don't think it's Toronto. I don't think Toronto has the best team. I think if the Yankees made a big move for a bat at the deadline, like Tatis, I could see the Yankees being the best team because I think the Yankees have the most talent out of all the teams. Their bullpen might not be the best, but yeah, I could see all three. I could see 3 teams with 90 wins, and then the 4th place team with 85, 80 something, and then the last place team basically 500. It's good. All 5 teams are going to be in it till the very end, in my opinion. But yeah, that's my thought process.
Well, that's why I mentioned with the Rays, I'm not saying that they're going to be bad. It's just they're in a really rough division, and they're going to be the least good, I would say, out of the teams in the division.
Yeah. You put them in the what's the weakest division? Is it the AL Central, you think? Or is it the NL Central?
That's tough. I mean, the AL Central has worse individual teams in it.
Yeah.
But I feel like the NL Central is just overall the most mediocre.
Yeah. You put Tampa Bay, I feel like Tampa Bay is easily a wild card team.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in that division, it's just so hard.
Happening.
Yeah. All right. We're down to the last division, the one that probably a lot of you want to hear my prediction about the Phillies. But we're not going to start with them because I don't have them finishing in last place. I have arguably one of the worst teams in baseball finishing in last place, which is the Washington Nationals.
Yeah.
They traded away Mackenzie Gore, who was a part of the Juan Soto trade and was supposed to be the start of the rebuild for this team. Well, guess what? They're going through another rebuild. Yay. And they only have pretty much James Wood and C.J. Abrams to really look forward to watch play. James Wood is so fun to watch. Dude can hit 450-foot home runs the opposite way. C.J. Abrams could win a batting title if he really put his mind to it. I think he's a fun player to watch. They have a lot of potential there. But they're in a rebuild. They had new ownership.
Again.
I think it's they have new GM, and also Blake Butera takes over as manager, but there's not really any high expectations with it. Their starting rotation, I don't even know who their number 1 starting pitcher is, and I'm in their division with it, but they do not have anyone that strikes fear into me with it. They should lose 100 games, in my opinion. There could be. I just realized I have 3 or 4 teams that could win the 100 games with the Rockies, Cardinals, Nationals, and then this team, the Miami Marlins. The Miami Marlins just seem to always be you know what? I don't really want to get better. I don't. You know what? I'm good being just absolute dog crap, and most of my fans being actual Yankee fans with it. So they traded away Edward Cabrera to the Cubs. They were also looking to trade Alcantara last deadline as well. And if they play their cards right, they'll probably trade away Yuri Perez, who's 22 years old and could be a Cy Young candidate this year because he pitches in that ballpark. Dude is fantastic. But, oh my gosh, other than Kyle Stowers, who in that lineup is fun to watch? And no one knows who Kyle Stowers is. He made the All-Star team. He's a good player. But, gosh, the Marlins suck.
Yeah.
What is it? I mean, these two teams, I don't think they're going to lose 100 games because I think they're just overall better team than the Nationals. Because the Marlins, at least, I think, have a better rotation and, like, a better overall team than the Nationals. The Nationals are definitely losing on purpose, like, with it. With the Marlins are like, yeah, we're going to try to win, but at the same time, we're not. Because our ownership just, I don't know. They had the Tampa Bay Rays guy take over not too long ago and then basically traded away everyone and yada, yada, yada.
I plan on going to the Yankees-Nationals game in July this year. And I can easily see it be like a Florida situation where it's like at least 80% of the fans there are cheering for the Yankees.
Oh, yeah.
There's going to be zero interest from the fans for the Nationals this year. There's nothing to watch.
No.
Marlins is in a similar spot, but I think to your point, the Marlins are slightly better.
Yeah.
So either way, neither of them really give me any draw to watch them.
Yeah. Like, Marlins just have a better chance to be spoiler because I just think that they have a little bit more experience even though their team is very young. But they just always seem to be just like that annoying, just like, we're just a little bit better than what we could be the worst team possibly. Mm-hmm. There's nothing interesting to talk about with these two teams other than James Wood, other than the players that I mentioned with them. No one else is really interesting. There's no expectation. They're pretty much going to be blah. Which is kind of pathetic with the next three teams that I'm going to talk about, who all have World Series aspirations.
They do.
So you may be wondering the order that I have this in, because all three of these teams have star power. They have what it takes to win the World Series if everything works out.
Yes. All
three of these teams are good teams. But if I'm going based off of what I project and how things have started just from spring training on, I have to put the Braves at third. The reason why is they have so many freaking injuries to the rotation. Yeah. They're only starting pitchers that are healthy that I know of, that I looked up for, that people can name, are Chris Sale and Spencer Strider. And the one thing about Spencer Strider is that his velocity is down again. You know what happens when his velocity is down? He gets taken to left field in Citizens Bank Park by Rhys Hoskins.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
It showed last year, too.
Yeah. He just wasn't the same pitcher last year.
Yeah.
Chris Sale is 37 or whatever, and he's going to be traded at the deadline if the Braves aren't actually good. But the thing about the Braves is that they still have a incredible lineup if everything goes well. Mm-hmm. They have Acuna, they have Riley, they have Olsen, they have Albies, they have Smith, and they have their Rookie of the Year catcher. Oh, my gosh. Oh, I can't remember off the top of my head. Anyway, but they have a very good team. They got Suarez from San Diego, and they still have their other closer, who Harper has absolute dynamite. Iglesias, thank you. But they lost Ozuna, who was a pretty good DH for them for a long time. And as much as I'm pretty just put this in my notes because it's fun, Profar is suspended 162 games. Yeah. What a joke he is, man. Yeah. I feel like that dude's just going to get released after this year. Like, I feel like the Braves are like, yeah, we don't want to pay you. Just get out of here. They have a new manager with Walt Weiss, but the only way this team makes the playoffs is if that rotation just holds and does okay. Because that lineup should be good. They've been hit or miss. Like last year, they were obviously a down year. But that lineup, if everything works out, is a very scary lineup. Because Acuna is just absolutely ridiculous. Olsen can hit 50. Riley could hit 50. But I could see them making a move to go get another bat, as well as a starting pitcher if they're like floating above it. Skeens. I could totally see them going to trade for Skeens if the Pirates are crap and the Braves were like, you know what, Sale's going to be gone. We could have Skeens for cheap for a long time for a couple more years while we still have Acuna and everything, and maybe go for it with it because the Phillies are getting older and the Mets are going all in, but they're not. I'll get to the Mets in a second, but I don't know. You're looking at me a little interesting.
No, I'm just thinking things through because the Braves are a weird team to me. They're almost, they could be like the Dodgers of the East if everything falls into place, honestly.
Yeah.
With the lineup that they have and the rotation when everyone's healthy. But for the last couple of years, they just have not gotten it together.
Yeah. Yeah. They scare me.
Yeah.
But I believe in them? No. But they scare the crap out of me. That's kind of how I feel about the Braves. Yeah. I don't believe in them, but they scare me. It's almost like, yeah, like there could be a monster underneath my bed. Like, yeah, I'm scared, but like I don't believe in it. Yeah. I don't know. What I just said there. Anyway. Oh my God, I'm running on fumes. Okay. All right, the last two teams. Obviously, I hate one of these teams, and the other team is my team.
You kind of hate your team right now, too.
Oh my gosh, that's so true. Actually, it's so funny. We've been talking about. I'm like, man, I've been telling so many people, I can't wait for baseball. I can't wait for this, and then I just know that I'm gonna be looking at my TV. And I'm just going to be like, freaking Braves and freaking Phillies. Anyway, so here's the thing. I have the Mets finishing in second. And I'll tell you why. They got better. They did. They got Freddie Peralta. They got the main thing.
They got a lot.
Let me finish. My main thing last year with the Mets was that their rotation was nothing to be scared of. And I was right. Their rotation really wasn't that great. But now they have Peralta. McLean looks pretty good with it. And that's just their number one and number two right now with it. So with those two guys at the top of their rotation, I'm like, all right, yeah, that could be scary. Obviously, they have Manaea and Senga's the number 4 or 5 starter now. But there's nothing like Yankees legend
Clay
Holmes, thank you. As the 3, 4, 5 star, like all three of those guys, the rotation is much better than it was last year. Mm-hmm. Does it scare me? Not really, but it's better. So it's an improvement. So this is where I feel like they started to lose me a little bit. They got rid of Diaz. I should say they lost Diaz. They didn't get rid of him. They lost him. Yeah. But right before that, they signed Devin Williams.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand what they were doing. Were they trying to be like, oh, yeah, let's sign Devin Williams and put him in the 8th spot and then go sign Diaz? But they didn't communicate it to Diaz. That was the reports. Like, yeah, Diaz was not aware of this. And so Diaz was like, oh, the Dodgers are going to go offer me and I have a real chance to win the World Series with the Dodgers? Yeah, I'm going to go do that. So them getting Devin Williams, who needs to prove himself in Citi Field before he can really be like, yeah, he's the Devin Williams, before Alonso took him deep in the playoffs. So that bullpen, kind of shaky without Diaz. Obviously, we all saw the trade where they swapped Nimmo for Marcus Semien. Both players that are about the same price, both have different things to offer. Obviously, Nimmo and I think some of the guys didn't really get along in the clubhouse. I think a lot of it has to do with Lindor. I don't know if Lindor has a problem with anyone, but they also got rid of Jeff McNeil. I don't know. McNeil obviously was a good hitter, but he was kind of a staple to the Mets. But this is where I was like, yeah, I don't think this team is going to do exactly what they think they're going to do, is because they got rid of Alonso. I feel like Alonso got a lot of disrespect for the Mets. The dude was fantastic for you, fan favorite. All he did was show up. Like he was a Philly killer, always showed up. But they're like, yeah, no, we're not going to give you that much money. But then he's like, all right, I'm going to go where I'm treated well. And Baltimore gave him the money to it. So I'm happy for Alonso. I hope that me. I hated Alonso as a Met. But as soon as he goes to Baltimore, I'm like, oh, yeah, I like Alonso. Like, the dude is exactly what you want in terms of a power hitter. He hits bombs. He's not going to hit 350. He's going to hit maybe 275, 280 at max. But he's going to do his job. He's gotten better at defense. I just felt like he should have stayed with the Mets. Obviously, they got Bo Bichette. They took him away from us, and I don't think there's going to be a more booed player in Philadelphia than Bo Bichette this year. Even with Juan Soto coming in every so often, Bo Bichette is going to get booed much more. And he hasn't looked that great at third base in the defense so far. Obviously, he's a great hitter, but will he suffer playing in Citi Field versus playing in Toronto? They obviously also added Jorge Polanco, who got way overpaid with $20 million a year. I don't think he's that. But then they also added Luis Robert, who has been abysmal with the White Sox the last 2 years, but he has just such raw talent that he could be a very high reward, low risk for the $20 million that he's getting, whatever he's getting paid. Obviously, they're probably better than they were last year, even with getting rid of Alonso and losing Diaz. But are they significantly better? I don't think they are. Obviously, the rotation is better, and that pays a lot of dividends. But if you can't close out games and you're not relying on depth, like how can you be a World Series potential team, and you're relying on Devin Williams, who has been now for a year and a half been very inconsistent, and you don't know what you're getting. Mm-hmm. Again, I don't think that they are. They could win the division. I could definitely see them winning the division just because they have a lot of talent. Because they do. Their rotation's better, but they're the Mets, and the Mets are going to Met. They spent a lot of money. They made a lot of moves. They're better, but are they significantly better? No, mostly because of Diaz and Alonso. And that leads me to the team that I know the most about and drives me up a freaking wall every single day. Philadelphia Phillies. I have them winning the division. But, dear God, this team does not excite me as much as they did in previous years. It's almost like the Sixers of a couple years ago where we're just like, they really just need to get to the playoffs and prove it. Because, I'm excited about the regular season. I'm going to watch it because I love baseball. But there's a sense in the air that, like, yeah, this team just is pretty much the same. Like they lost Ranger, they lost Bader, and they re-signed Schwarber and JT, who it was expected they were going to do that, but they needed to go and get another bat, and Bichette was going to be that bat. You're like, oh sweet, like a guy that has hard at bats is going to hit some singles and some doubles, hit a couple home runs for us, and really kind of bolster that lineup. And he went to the Mets. I wasn't worried. His defense has been subpar. Like, I was just like, I didn't know if he was going to put him at second base or third base. But that was really a gut punch to us. And because of that, we re-signed JT. We weren't going to re-sign JT if we got Bichette, but we re-signed JT. I'm happy about that because JT's my boy. I really think the loss of Ranger is going to hurt us in the rotation, only because there's two guys in the back of the rotation right now until Wheeler comes back we just don't know. Taijuan Walker, I can't believe I'm saying it, but he is the number 4 starter on our team. He shouldn't be, but he is. Andrew Painter is the number 5 starter on our team, and that's one of the main reasons why there's a little bit of excitement with this team. A little bit. We have Crawford and Andrew Painter coming up to be the starting center fielder and the number 5 starter. Both of our top prospects. We're giving them a shot. You don't really see that with the Phillies because we normally wait until they're 25, 26, and they peak too late. But these guys are young. They're early 20s. Painter has looked okay. His swing and miss stuff isn't there, but he's been decent in terms of being enough. If he does what he does for a number 5 starter, we can do that. Crawford, I don't know what we're getting. He's okay at defense. He's more of a singles, doubles hitter more than anything power-wise. But he could steal some bases, and I could just hope that he's kind of like an annoying, pesky player this first year, so that way he's fun to watch, and he's kind of like that player that other teams just don't want to deal with. Okay. All right. Their bullpen. It's probably their best attribute right now, in my opinion. They have Duran. They got Brad Keller. They got rid of Strom, who was kind of inconsistent, but they have a lot of depth behind those guys, with Alvarado. I know Kerkering is kind of hated right now, but Kerkering's a good pitcher. And then they also added a couple lefties and righties to their bullpen that are decent guys. It's not like they're going to be like the best bullpen, but I think that that might be one of their best strength, their second best strength other than their starting pitching. Because once Wheeler comes back, now I don't think Wheeler is going to be the same pitcher as he was. The success rate of guys with thoracic outlet syndrome surgery is not great. It's kind of 50-50 at this point. Matt Harvey, prime example with it. But Wheeler's supposed to be coming back possibly early May, end of April. That would be great. And so then you have Christopher Sanchez, Nola, Luzardo, who we just signed an extension, and Wheeler as our top 4 pitchers. I like that against a lot of teams. With Christopher Sanchez, and if Wheeler is back to what he's supposed to be, and Luzardo being a really good pitcher, the 1-2-3 could be absolutely dominant with it. And I 100% think that we could be the best starting rotation in baseball. It really depends upon whether or not Nola comes back and pitches. He looks like he's been pitching better. He's got more spin on the ball. He's throwing harder. It looked like he battled injury last year. But I still can't believe in him. I used to be a Nola believer. I used to be a Nola defender for a long time. It just can't right now. It just seems like he hangs the ball too much and hitting. It guaranteed someone's going to hit a home run off of him. This team's not going anywhere unless the offense delivers. Adolis Garcia was our biggest offseason addition because we got rid of Castellanos and we re-signed Schwarber and JT. But Garcia's not like that guy that you're like, wow, he's going to change the game for us. He's not. He can hit 25 home runs for you. He's got a great defender, great arm, fantastic. But they needed someone to really change that lineup, and I just don't think he's going to change that lineup. He's high risk or low risk, high reward. But it's another one of those signings that we're going to sign a guy hoping that he has a bounce-back year. We can't be relying on bounce-back years for a team that has World Series aspirations for now the 4th straight year. I don't know. I think they're going to be the best team in the division. But for love of God, they could also drive me up a wall and finish 3rd because they've had some injuries and the rotation isn't as good and the offense is just getting older. These guys are all going to be in their mid-30s next year. Mm-hmm. Harper, Turner, Schwarber, all going to be 33, 34. You just don't see guys last that much longer at their peak. I think they have 1-2 years left, and that's the lockout next year. They need to win it this year. Otherwise, they're just going to be like, because we're not getting baseball next year. If anything, we'll get half a season at best, but we're not getting a full year. So this is like almost like the last year for me to really think that this team's going to win it all before we have to do a reset. With Harper and Turner being older, like they'll still be there, but because they're not going to get rid of them because the contracts are going to be too hard to move. But this is the make or break year, and I will still watch and be competitive. And I still think they're the best team in the division in terms of everything that they have. But my gosh, they are going to drive me up a freaking wall because watching the World Baseball Classic was like watching the Phillies. I was like, oh my gosh, this team is exactly like the Phillies. They don't deliver. But hopefully they do. So there's my prediction. I do think the Phillies will win the division, but I'm not confident in it. I'm not. Yeah.
All right.
You have any thoughts?
Yeah, well, I already discussed the bottom 3 teams. I agree with your order. I think the loss of Alonso is going to be bigger for the Mets than people suppose. And I say that because I saw what happened with Judge and Soto with that dynamic, having those 2 power hitters in there. Yeah. And when you lose one, that really affects the lineup. I feel like that's something similar might happen with the Mets. Yeah. Because now you just have Soto. Yep. They still have hitters in the lineup, then you have your Lindor and other guys. Yeah. But not as much in terms of power.
Yeah, it's not scary.
It's not scary. Yeah. It's efficient.
Yeah, it's efficient. That's a good word for it.
It's efficient, but it's not powerful. Yeah. And yeah, to go to the Phillies, we've mentioned this before on the podcast, but I continue to see the parallels between your and my teams just in the mindset. You talked about Adolis Garcia, and that was like the only like offensive pickup that they had this year. They really believe with this core that they can win it all. And I'm not saying that they can't. I mean, on paper, look at this team with their rotation, with their lineup. They should be going really far. Yeah. But they continue to disappoint. So what's happening? and the window's closing quickly.
Yeah, fast. Fast.
It's closing really fast, and if we do have this CBA lockout next year, I don't think they're gonna. That's gonna be a big problem for the Phillies.
Yeah,
because then you're gonna lose a year, and I mean Harper's probably going to be 35, 36, and same thing with Schwarber.
So Harper,
they're going to be in their mid 30s, and JT as a catcher, is not going to last forever.
Yeah.
A lot of it is going to depend on the lineup. I'm not overly concerned about the rotation. When is Wheeler coming back?
Late April, early May is the projection,
okay,
which is earlier than expected. So the big
that's big too is when he comes back.
The big thing about Wheeler is that surgery, the thoracic outlet syndrome surgery, if you don't know what it is, you have to remove a rib because there's like a nerve pinch in like the neck and like shoulder area. But for some reason you have to remove a rib. And the guys that it's kind of 50-50. I was doing research on this. I don't like the fact that he's like almost fast tracked because he's not young. Mm-hmm. He's older.
Yeah.
And while I still believe Zach Wheeler is going to do everything he can to pitch as much as he can at the best ability he can, I just fear that he's not going to be the Wheeler of old. That's my biggest fear with this team is that like Wheeler's going to come back and everyone's going to be like, oh, Wheeler's back. Like, we're great. And then he's not great. And then all of a sudden, boom, like this team just all of a sudden, like all the energy and excitement is gone. And that goes in like beginning of May. Because this offense could suck, 100%. Harper could have a down year. He's had some problems with the fastball. Schwarber kind of looked bad at the World Baseball Classic. I know he had the home run in Houston against I can't remember which team it was, but other than that, he looked really overmatched by a lot of guys. Trey Turner, I don't know what to expect from him. He's just getting older, and for a guy that normally relies on just hitting and speed, as you get older, that starts fading when you don't have power to back it up.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. Alec Boehm shouldn't even be on this team. Bryson Stott, I hope he can hit 300, but I just don't think it's ever going to happen. This outfield, with Castellanos gone, it should be a better defensive team, which would be great. But Christopher Sanchez, Luzardo, those are the two most exciting things on the team right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, if things fall apart for the Phillies this year, I could see Atlanta and Philly trading places. I could see Philly being a third-place team, and Atlanta, like if they play to what they should, take the divisional crown.
Yeah, because we're older than Atlanta.
Yeah,
that's the one thing we are. We're older than Atlanta. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure that everyone is like, Michael, what are you talking about? The Phillies are going to be the best team. I don't know. I feel like there's just an overall sense of not dread, but like, we're excited the baseball's back, but man, they need to do it. Otherwise, they're going to lose a lot of fans. The tensions are a little bit higher this year than previous years. We're kind of just like tired of them saying like, oh no, we want to win it. All these like cliche things. We're like, okay, well, shut up, do it. Like Harper, you need to hit 40 home runs. Like you're getting paid. You're supposed to be the best player on the team. Like you say you're elite, go be elite. I know the comments from Dombrowski's got to your head, and it was definitely mishandled by Dombrowski and Harper. Both of them didn't handle it the way that I think they should. But man, Harper, you need to be a better player. Like you're supposed to be the face of the franchise and almost the face of MLB with how much publicity you get. But you need to be better. You need to be an MVP caliber player each and every year.
Yeah.
But you haven't been. I love you, buddy. And I know you're never going to hear this. But if you do, get it together. Gosh, come on, man. I believe in you. You have so much potential. I know he's going to walk this year. He's like, yeah, I'm going to try to focus on walking this year. I'm like, that's fine. Just be better.
Yeah.
Just be better. And for the people that are going to come at me like, oh, you criticize Harper. Like, everyone deserves criticism. I think Harper's the best player on our team. Easily. He's a top 25 player in baseball. Maybe top 30. But he needs to be better. For living up to the type of player that he is and the type of player he wants to be, he needs to be better. All right. I am out of energy.
Well, we're approaching 2 hours.
Oh, so my gosh. How we do this. Oh, my gosh. All right. Do you have anything else to say?
I mean, in terms of like who's going to make the playoffs, like the wild card and
no, we'll do that. No, we predicted division winners. This is how the divisions are panning out.
All right.
Yeah,
sounds good.
We'll do that in September and October.
Yeah.
When we have like one podcast in between that time.
Yeah. I appreciate everyone's patience with us. If you listen to this entire thing, thank you, because it is almost 2 hours worth. And I mean, let us know what you think. I mean, if we're totally off about what I said about the Mariners or the Tigers or the Blue Jays or whatever else, or if you think the Phillies going to go all the way this year, let us know.
Yeah. Instagram is always open to DM us. Twitter's open to DM us. Talk to us. We want to hear from you. Yeah. All right. I think that's all. Are you good with that?
Yeah, and we'll see you in probably 2 or 3 months at this point.
We do apologize. We do want to get more episodes out, but sometimes it's just life gets in the way. And we're getting older. We just have a lot of just stuff that, I don't know. There's excuses and there's not excuses. But anyway, we thank you so much for listening. We hope you're excited for baseball. It may not seem like we're as excited as maybe as some other people, but man, we are ready for baseball to be back. We are ready for baseball to be back. Yes. Obviously, with the lockout looming the following year, enjoy this baseball season.
Yes.
Because it could be the last one for a couple years.
Indeed.
So thank you again for listening. Let us know your predictions, and we hope that you have a great baseball season.
Indeed. Play ball.